One company has been making the steamers that have been a part of Taiwan's culinary memory for decades.
这个电锅哈，到现在呢已经是有50多个年头哈，它一直是家家户户，甚至出外工作、留学都要带出去的东西。它的基本的设计理念的话呢，就是要让男女老少它都非常好用，然后你只要是一个按键 ，one touch， 让不会煮饭的人也可以轻易帮自己张罗三餐。
Steam cookers are an invention forged in flame. To get things started, a steel alloy is melted down. The liquid alloy is then poured into molds, still boiling hot at a temperature of several hundred degrees. When the mold is pulled away, the casting for the outer pot emerges. The molds leave the pots with extra pieces on the bottom, and those have to be shaved off. The pots are then put inside a CNC machine that shapes each of them to the same set of dimensions. Machines continue handling the bulk of the work, drilling holes in the base that will come into play later in the assembly process when the various components are put together. Then the outer pots are shaved down to size, to the exact fraction of a millimeter. This element of precision fine-tuning is something that comes into play with each component of the steamer. Thus far, the manufacturing of these steam cookers has largely been handled by machines, which have turned molten metal into the outer pot. Every step in the process utilizes the latest in manufacturing technology, but important cultural traditions are never far from the builders' minds.
那为什么想要圆呢？就是说，因为一家吃饭代表的是一个圆满，所以我们想要做一个圆形的电锅。
Discs of metal are transformed by stampers into the outer enclosure. In another part of the factory, the enclosures are then hung up and transported to be cleansed of any excess oil. Then the enclosures are hung out to dry and sent for a coat of spray paint. And the labels are stamped on. Next up, another vital piece of the puzzle, the inner pot. Discs of metal are cut from a thin sheet and stamped into shape. As the stamper comes down, the flat circular pieces are transformed into the pots that will hold the ingredients later on. The rough edges of the pot are then smoothed out and rolled up in a quick, easy process and inspected then and there. Once the inner pot has its basic shape, the bottom is formed, once again using a machine that stamps the bottom with a custom design. Then, focus shifts from the bottom of the steamer to the top, specifically to the lid. Much like the rest of the machine, the lid might look simple, but it's actually comprised of numerous parts that all play a role in forming a tight seal so the steam stays in. The lids also need to have their rough edges taken off, spinning at high speed to become perfectly smooth. Once the hole for the handle is punched out, the lids are good to go. The rest of the parts, on the other hand, still have to take a run through the assembly line.
我们现在可以看到的话，就是铝锅。 上面就是我们会装上它的那个电热管的部分，然后还有压片、固定板把它锁起来。那因为这个是它加热的部分，那接下来的话就是开关箱。那开关箱上面就是 这个横杆就是我们那个电锅弹跳的那个部分，然后还有那个保温片。那保温片就是我们电锅跳起来的时候，它会去做保温的动作。
With the electrical system in place, the enclosures are screwed in over the top of the frame, covering the outer and inner pots, and the one-touch control panel is installed. The fuse assembly and control lever are put in. Then it's time to test out the basic parts of the electrical system to make sure everything is in perfect working order. The switch works, but how about the heat supply? Here, several steamers are tested to make sure they'll take things up to the right temperature, somewhere around 200 degrees Celsius, and turn themselves off once the job is done. Next, another test, this time to make sure the voltage stays consistent at around 110. All these tests make for a product that can last for multiple generations to enjoy.
你自己使用的经验，用30-40年、50年的话呢，它还是继续在帮你工作。所以当然，如果产品这么的耐久的话呢，那显然我们的销量就不会太大。这50多年来的话呢，大概以累积的产量大概1500万台。
Finally, this essential part of kitchens around Taiwan